You learned the legends of Amphorius from those bath sprites a while ago. But that was a sanitized version. It spared you from the harsh and bitter realities of our history. The pantheon of titans that once ruled our world has become the very affliction that eats away at Amphorius. An unfathomable power changed something within most of these titans, inducing their rage and madness. Amphorius has since fallen into eternal night, the black tide engulfing our world. Arkema is now the only city to still receive light, and we owe it to Kefali's protection. The Chrysos heirs gathered here are Amphorius' only hope. People hail us as heroes, as protectors, and as deliverers. They are counting on us to vanquish the Titans, reclaim their core flames, topple them from their thrones, and take their authority for ourselves. It is only upon reclaiming all core flames that the miracle of Genesis can reveal itself, granting a new lease on life to this broken world. This is Amphorius' flame chase journey. A band of heroes dedicated to slaying the gods and reclaiming the 12 core flames for the world to start over anew. With the end times before us, we are expected to lead all of our people toward the summit. Arkema needs as many allies as possible to aid us in the upcoming battles. The two of you may be just the reinforcements that the Chrysos heirs have been waiting for. If I'm putting my hopes in the wrong place, so be it. But for Amphorius, I am willing to take the chance. I have laid my heart bare, and in return, I just want you to make a single promise. Promise me to never tell the people of Arkema about the worlds beyond the sky, no matter what may happen. I'm glad to hear that. Please understand, Arkema is approaching its end, and I do not wish to give my people false hope. Not when we've been badly scarred by it before. Can you promise me that?
Thank you. The agreement between us is now complete. I apologize if this ritual upset you, but I hope you understand. I had no other choice. As much as I am interested to hear your story, I'm afraid I've already taken up too much of your time. Mr. Dunhang's worrying has created ripples in the water. Why don't the both of you tour our holy city? See how our people make ends meet in this difficult time. I will have your welcome gifts ready later today.
You're finally back. What did she say to you? Promise not to tell her people about our interstellar voyages. I didn't expect that to be her only concern. Though this is consistent with how Finan was acting when we were at the Abyss. Something is definitely off about this world. Even on a planet as isolated as Eurilo 6, the people still had an understanding of space, and even paths and eons. The sky above Amphorius, though, is more like a prison. They clearly have advanced technology, so who could imagine that even discussing what's beyond the sky would be taboo? Do you remember the massive chaotic matter concealing Amphorius from the rest of the universe? I can't help thinking that someone is intentionally keeping Amphorius hidden. The Titans could also be related to some eon. Let's explore the city, like Aglaya suggested. We help defend the place, after all. This is a good chance to fish around for information while they still have a good impression of us. We can also take some photos for our records.
mechanism deactivated.
Oh, that's fast. Excuse me. Do you need help?
You are... What strange clothing and accent you have. Oh, are you the warriors that followed Lord Finon back from the frontier?
Bon Appetit says this is the best biryani in New York. Let's see if this is true. If you do happen to enjoy this video, be sure to give it a like and a share. And now, let's get started.
This is Chintan Kiran Pandya, the chef owner at Dhamaka of Unapologetic Foods in New York City. And today we are at Dhamaka Kitchen trying to make the perfect version of biryani that we believe it is.
Ooh, this sounds like it's going to be a good video. And it's in English too.
I'm based out of New York City. We have a bunch of Indian restaurants. Every restaurant focuses on different part of India.
He has one restaurant that's won the James Beard Award and another that has a Michelin star. I may have to go when I visit New York because that's not easy to get. Now, if anyone's wondering what the James Beard Award is, this is from the James Beard Foundation. So it's not exactly the same thing as Michelin. Michelin, they actually send people out to the restaurants incognito to test the cooking, the cuisine, and everything about the place.
And one of the cooking process in finalizing the biryani is called the dum cooking. This means the cooking on its own steam. Biryani is basically a dish where you have a protein, chicken, goat, lamb, you can have beef, and then you have rice. So it's a layer of these things mixed together and you have it. My mouth is watering right now, actually.
Now for everyone watching, let me know down below on how much you like biryani. Is your mouth watering too, just waiting to see what this looks like?
So I think the first and foremost process that we want to start with is frying the onions. This is the fried onion, which goes more like a layered thing. It's a garnish kind of a thing. In a subcontinent cooking, it's always red onions. And it's got a very stronger smell. It's got a very stronger taste than a white onion. It needs to be around this thin.
If anyone hasn't noticed, the chef is cutting the onion lengthways. This is more of the European style, the Western style that we cut onions lengthways along the grain, not across the grain.
It fries at 325, it will fry evenly on. If it's thicker, it will get a golden brown color on the outside, but the inside would still be a little raw. To get the even frying, we need to cut it thin. You have to stand there and see how it fries, and once it's golden brown, you take it out.
What they're making is basically crispy onions. In London, I had the same thing on garnish. I had to make a lot of these too. I normally had to make them at like 6:30, 7 in the morning. I had like 20 kilos of onions, you know, a lot of onions. The easiest way to do this though in the fryer was to start with the fryer was cold, to put everything in the baskets, and then to raise the temperature slowly, and this would draw out the rest of the moisture. And then once they turn a nice golden brown color, you have to take them out quickly, put them onto a flat sheet tray with a little bit of paper, and just spread them out. It soaks up all the oil so they won't get nice and crispy.
That is Chef Vijay. He works with us. His passion in life is to cook the best possible biryani in this world. Not better than me. We are looking for this crispiness.
Are there like biryani food competitions, at least in India? Because I know that there are food competitions everywhere. I mean, you have food competitions for everything, even pâté en croûte in France, in Lyon.
Little golden brown color. Not too dark, not too light. But if you see this one, it's totally done. So we are just going to chop up a little of these tomatoes. This is for the curry that we are cooking. So this is the base of the chicken biryani. To get a little bit of sourness and also for the liquid, we need some diced onions.
Well, this is bringing back memories. In a French kitchen, you have to peel almost everything, the skin off of everything. So if this was a French kitchen, that tomato right now would be blanched and he would be peeling the skin off before adding it. Thinking about it, I even had to peel grapes in London. Not fun.
I prefer my biryani to be a little bit spicy, so I add a little bit more slivers of green chilies into it. So I'm slicing it longer like this because with this, somebody who doesn't want it can just take it off the thing, and I think this imparts a better flavor in the biryani than the, the round ones. So we have everything prepped over here nearly for our biryani. We need to do a very important step now, which is wash our rice and soak it, and by that time we start doing other things over here. So what Vijay is doing here, Chef Vijay is doing over here is he has taken up the rice. We are going to wash the rice and then soak the rice before we cook it for the biryani. We are using a basmati rice today, and it's like an old basmati rice. It's 10 to 12 years old. The older it is, the more expensive it is, and the better flavor and texture it will have.
This is exactly what Joshua did with his biryani. He used like aged basmati rice. It's not always easy to get, at least in my area, it's not readily available. Sometimes you have to go on a little Easter egg hunt to try to find it.
The basmati rice is a longer grain rice, and it's not very starchy. This is the starch which is coming out, which we want to take it off. From the farm, the rice comes, it's got a lot of husk and everything into it. There might be some impurities, so you wash it up and soak it. What also happens with the soaking is, it also helps with the cooking. I think basmati rice has a beautiful flavor. It absorbs a lot of flavor from any of the accompaniment which you'll have with it.
The same thing with like making a paella. The whole idea of the paella is for the rice to absorb all the flavors of the sofrito and all the other ingredients when you're cooking.
So this is going to sit for 30 minutes. We'll put the water for boiling on the side. By that time, we'll start cooking our chicken. We actually don't have the word curry in our cuisine, actually. It's a base of the biryani, something which has got a little liquid to it. So we are going to make our chicken, which is basically the base of it. It's a chicken curry. What we are doing is adding some ghee into it. Ghee is the clarified butter, and it is an integral part of this recipe, actually.
In the simplest of terms, it's clarified butter, although some will say that it's clarified butter that is taken an extra step to cook a little longer, so it may have more of like a nutty flavor to it. Long story short, ghee has a higher cooking temperature, or smoking point I should say, than normal unsalted butter. With normal unsalted butter, you still have a lot of the impurities, especially like water, in it, so it has a much lower smoking point, and it's easy for it to brown. So if you're going to be frying at higher temperatures or sauteing, it's a better idea to use ghee or oil.
110% tastes far more better than butter any day. We're going to add some spices over here. So this is a bay leaf, black cardamom. That's a green cardamom. And then we have the mace. This is a nutmeg. And mace is something that covers the nutmeg.
Mace is one of those ingredients that you don't see used a lot anymore in Western cuisine. It used to be used a lot in much older recipes. If you're thinking more like medieval recipes, they use a lot of spices and ingredients that we don't typically use today.
And then we have some cloves over here. We have our diced onions over here. I'm going to add it inside it. The onions are cut very finely, and we want to cook it as long as possible. If we don't keep on stirring it, it will stick to the bottom and it will burn it. You see how the color is changing?
Basically what he's going to be doing is caramelizing the onions. This imparts a lot of flavor. Also, when you start sauteing a lot of these spices, it helps to release a lot of the flavors that they have. So this also adds to the finished product with the aroma and flavor.
That's a ginger garlic paste. So it's 50% ginger, 50% garlic. So as soon as I add the ginger garlic paste into it, that's what you'll start, getting the aromas of. So I've added some turmeric powder. I'm adding some chili powder into it. So now I added in the tomatoes inside it. So we are now going to cook it. The unique property of the chili powder is that this one is very, I would say, neutrally spiced, but gives a very good deep red color to the dish.
I wonder what he was using. Maybe Kashmiri chilies. Those are very common in Indian cuisine. They have a very bright red color, although depending on which ones you get, sometimes it can be a little spicy as well. If you don't want spice, the best option to use is going to be sweet paprika. The reason why is because sweet paprika doesn't have much spice to it. And if you're cooking this for a group of people and you don't know their spice tolerance, best to make it mild to not spicy at all, because a lot of people can't take spice.
So now you see the tomato is getting cooked. It's getting a little mashy. This is what we are looking for. This is a whole chicken, but you can use chicken whole legs cut on the bone with that. A lot of flavor in a meat is inside the bone. We traditionally cooked everything on the bone because I think it imparts a better flavor to it, stronger taste to it actually. So that's why I prefer doing everything on the bone.
A lot of chefs say the same thing, that they prefer cooking on the bone than cooking without the bone. Also, depending on what type of meat that you're cooking, also what type of bones, you can add extra collagen and even the marrow from the bones to what you're cooking. But if you're going to be making some demi-glace with some veal bones, you have knuckles, you have spine, you have all these good parts, they will add a lot of gelatin to that dish or to the sauce, and you'll notice it'll be a nice thick sauce.
So that's some whisk yogurt. So what yogurt will do is it will add the body to this dish and get everything together. So all your spices, onion, tomatoes, powdered things, everything together. What we prefer is a Greek yogurt, full-fat Greek yogurt, salt.
Interesting.
The most important ingredient.
What did he say? Salt is the most important ingredient. Something I say all the time. It's even more important than MSG. It is.
So the chicken is out of our way. It's gonna get cooked over here. I have it on the slow fire. We'll keep an eye on it, so it's okay. What we have over here is we are boiling the water, and it's just a regular New York tap water. There's no type of water.
I guess that's a secret ingredient to New York pizza, isn't it? The New York tap water. What's in the New York tap water? Because depending on where you live, there's not always good things in the tap water. I remember when I used to live in Friday Harbor, Washington. Now, the island had old pipes. Some of these old pipes turned out to have asbestos. And I won't go into details because then this video may get flagged or whatnot, but long story short, you have to be very careful what is in your tap water.
Because this video is about how you can do it at home, I always say that you have to multi-skill yourself. You cannot do one step at a time. So what you do is you start off with this, you can just leave it on its own. It's getting cooked over there on a slow heat. Let it cook. You don't have to disturb it or anything. I have the water over here. I'm just gonna add some salt to it.
Oh, just a little bit of salt, yeah? Just a pinch. Normally when we're cooking pasta or even with making rice, the saying in the kitchen is to make the water as salty as the sea. So if you've ever had salt water, you know how salty it can be. Funny fact, the Mediterranean is actually a little saltier than the Atlantic, which also means that you're a little more buoyant as well.
And then we add some ghee. I'm adding some cumin, the mace, what we saw before. We have some cinnamon sticks, dried bay leaf, some cloves, some green cardamom, and we'll just boil it. So this becomes like a flavorful stock, and that's where we'll boil our rice in now. Obviously, so we have the soaked rice. I've drained the water out. Just gonna add the rice inside this water now.
Now this is the proper way on cooking basmati rice. You want to bring the water up to a boil first, and then time when you add the rice to the water instead of just putting everything in at once and then bringing it up to the boil. You can still do it that way, but this is an easier way on checking the time.
So it's infused with a lot of flavors. So when you boil the rice inside it, obviously water is going to expand the grain, and also the flavor goes inside the rice. If you ask me how much time it takes cook, it's not like flipping a burger where it will be 2 minutes, flip the burger and it's cooked. No, every rice is different. Every batch of rice will come out different. So I always say there's no specific time. You need to know, like, we'll show you what it's done or not done.
He's 100% right about this. The basmati that I get from the store, that type of basmati takes around 12 minutes for me to make it. The type that you get will be completely different than the type that I have. It is a very strange thing, but one of my friends at work, he had a formula down on how to make the perfect basmati rice. Well, one day, he decided to use a different brand of basmati because it was a little cheaper, and he tested his little, method on making it, and it was off. He didn't cook the same.
So I'm trying to put the grain over here, and then you just do it this. You see there's a little bite left to it. This is what we are looking for. We need it 70 to 75 or between 70 to 80% cooked, and rest 20% will be cooking inside that pot when we put it inside the oven.
Whoop, colander. Good thing Uncle Roger's not watching this.
Hiya!
So we have our rice ready over here, we have the chicken ready, but yes, one still component is still left, which is the jhol. So we call it a jhol. Basically means a liquid. So it's equal amount of butter and cream, some saffron inside it. This is to layer up the biryani, and it will give the different color to the rice and also a lot of flavor to the rice. As I said, it's a very celebratory dish, and one of the key components of this dish is saffron. And you'll see how the rice will be little golden when it's cooked with the saffron inside it. So that's the reason for it. Just for the perspective of people who don't know, saffron is more expensive than gold.
And there's a lot of saffron on the black market. So if you see somebody selling saffron for less than $100-something per ounce, chances are it may not be saffron. Saffron is very labor intensive. So people, or maybe they use machines now, but basically they have to pick the little threads out of the flowers. And you don't get many of these little threads out of the flowers, but it's very labor intensive. If you're eating counterfeit saffron, you could be eating plastic, you could be eating coconut hair, you could be eating horsehair, you could be eating anything.
I have seen a lot of people, they just throw saffron on a dish. It doesn't do anything to that dish. You need to know how to integrate the saffron within your dish. So if you see, basically jhol was only cream and butter, but now when you added the saffron, it's got that color, which is a saffron color. So saffron on its own will never have a flavor, but you have to use a medium of fat or dairy or water to get that flavor inside it.
A little bit of saffron will go a very long way, literally like a little pinch. It's very typical to use saffron in paella. So when you're making a paella like for 2 or 3 or even 4 people, you need just a little bit, just a little.
All the components of this dish are ready. So we have our rice ready over here. We have the chicken curry ready over here. We have the jhol ready over here. So now the final and the finale of it is we are going to build up the biryani. The magic starts. So guys, now the final part of building up the dish. We have this beautiful clay pot, which we're going to build up the entire dish with the layers in there. Goes on top of it. We'll seal it up with the dough and cook it inside the oven. The good biryani will always be cooked in a clay pot, and then you can just scrape it around and you'll see how it comes out. It doesn't stick to it. If you don't have a clay pot, something that you can find in the market very easily is a Dutch oven. This one has actually given me a better result than any other pot that I've tried in the market.
I love his honesty. Me personally, I use a Dutch oven every single night when I cook. The only issue with Dutch ovens is they can be very expensive and they can also be quite heavy. So if you're going to be cooking on like an induction cooktop, like what I have, you have to be very careful not to slam it down or to drop it because you can break the glass top.
So this is the jhol, as we spoke about. So you need a certain amount of moisture on the bottom because if I put the rice directly on the bottom, it's going to heat up and there are chances it might start sticking to it. So this basically is a layer of fat which heats up and it provides that moisture to the dish.
This is a very, very good little pro tip. As a matter of fact, what we saw when Joshua was making his biryani, he didn't add this to the bottom of his pot. He didn't even cook the chicken fully, so he cooked it for a very long time. And everything on the bottom of the pot burnt. It was sticking to the bottom.
Now we are going to add some rice to it. I'm going to add some golden fried onions over here now. It's not going to remain crisp by the time it gets cooked finally, but it will impart a lot of flavor. We'll eat it together and you'll understand why. So now I'm going to add some ginger juliens over here, very finely cut fresh ginger juliens. And now we are going to add the slit green chilies over here. I'm adding some fresh cilantro over here. Some mint.
Mint, Uncle Roger's kryptonite, especially after watching the previous video with Jamie.
And if you've got any mint or coriander around,
Mint and coriander for Korean fried rice? I'm going to eat so many Korean dish. Not a single dish have mint on there.
If you haven't seen Jamie making his barbecued egg fried rice, you need to see it.
Now we are going to add the chicken. Chicken is cooked. Yes, it's fully cooked. I'm just arranging the pieces over here.
Fully cooking it actually speeds up the cooking time. So basically, you don't have to finish this in the oven.
So it creates a one whole layer of the chicken over here.
This is looking
So I'm going to add little jhol again to it. I'm going to take some of the gravy from here and I'm going to put it over it.
Oh, I'm gonna have to visit this place when I go to New York. This looks delicious.
Again, some fried onion. We have some ginger juliens,
Oh my.
slit green
All
chilies,
that flavor.
some mint over here, some cilantro.
My
Just gonna add a little
goodness.
bit more of gravy
Just
over
layer
here.
of layer of flavors. Ooh.
Just gonna top it off with a little more rice on top.
This.
And that's a spoon of the jhol. A lot of the food that is cooked in our culture is meant for communal dining. So we expect this for like, if I'm hungry, I might eat it on my own, the entire thing, but ideally it's for 4 people. So please excuse me on my eating habits. So that's a regular dough.
I honestly think that if I ordered this, I would probably eat this by myself as well. At least all the chicken and the majority of the rice. It looks like this is gonna taste fantastic.
I'm gonna line it up over here. So it's a dough which is basically some flour, water, and little oil and salt. We have this dough now evenly around it. I'm gonna seal it up. So our pot is ready now. It will start throwing out steam. And the steam starts going on top with all the layers inside it, all the flavors in there. It starts going up, but it cannot escape outside, so it keeps on going inside, and that keeps on revolving. And what will happen is that will actually infuse all the flavors together.
This was the old way of keeping all the flavors in. Today we have other options, not just pressure cookers. We can also cook sous vide, which is the same idea, is to keep all the flavors inside the bag. So you cook in the bag in a vacuum, and it really enhances the flavors. If you haven't tried sous vide or even this, it works.
This is called the dum cooking. But if I don't put the dough around it, 100% chances that the steam will start escaping. And it will not taste, the same dish will taste different.
True.
So we have it inside the oven. It's gonna cook for 20-25 minutes. I'm very hungry right now. They haven't fed me anything while doing this. So I'm gonna eat the entire biryani on my own.
Okay, that I don't believe, because normally when you work in a kitchen, you're always picking at something to snack on. And normally if you made a lot of like crispy onions, these I always had to make extra, and I had to hide them as well, because every single time someone passed by while the tray was drying, I'd have less onions. So I had to get smart and put them in places where people couldn't reach as they passed by.
So it's been close to 25 minutes now. Let's look at the crust. I think we are ready. The crust looks insane. It looks amazing. The rice has soaked up the jhol, the curry and everything. You're gonna mix it up and it will all come together soon and within few minutes.
Oh,
I actually enjoy eating most of the Indian food with my hands.
that looks delicious. And you know the good thing is that since everything was pre-cooked, except for the rice fully, he didn't burn it. If you want to follow a good recipe, I highly suggest this guy. It looks delicious.
That's how I've been brought up. That's culturally what we do. If you see, everything is mixed together. Everything is, look at the saffron, the way it's within the rice and everything. The way I love to do it is, I take up a chunk of the meat out of the bone. I have my meat, and then I'll take a little bit of rice with all the things inside it, onion, mint, cilantro, green chili, and
I love this. So he's using his fingers to eat while the other chef is using a spoon. The other thing I'd like to know is that how can they be doing this behind the line in the kitchen? Because you have to be very careful with the health department, especially depending on where you are. Because I'm sure a few of the people from the health department watch TV, no? And they may watch your video and you're eating behind the line. I remember one who used to come to our restaurant in Friday Harbor on a Sunday during Sunday brunch when we had like 200 people in the restaurant. You know, it was balls to the walls, we were running, and the lady showed up at our back door, said, "Food inspection right now." And my dad was like, no, piss off. You come back when we're not busy.
the fun part is you can taste each and every ingredient on its own. But when you do this, it's pure magic, trust me. I don't think so there's a way you can explain these things, that how they come together, why they come together or something. It just happens.
That looks good.
Very simple dish, just follow the rules. Just do it the very simple way and it will come out phenomenal. Vijay, what do you think about the biryani, man?
I think it's super good. Yeah.
Thank you.
I could have done better than him. So yeah, I'm learning from him.
I'm sure this year he'll get a good bonus.
Yeah, that's why I said it.
I mean, otherwise, if you said that it was horrible and you didn't make a very good biryani, I don't think you'd have a job. The title of the video was The Best Biryani in New York City. And I honestly think that this is one of the best in New York. It is possible there are others, but this looked delicious. Absolutely delicious. And what I loved about this recipe, it was that not only did he explain such an easy method on making it, but it was so simple the way that he decided to make it. A very logical process of making as well. Instead of going all over the place, not working organized, which you see a lot of the videos that we review. People are not very organized in the kitchen. Obviously, he's a professional chef. This makes a big difference. And this dish, with all the flavors, with all the spices, all the aromas that it has, it looks phenomenal. When I visit New York, and I hope to next year, I have to visit this place. And you know what? I think I need to take Brian and Frenchie with me. All of us need to go over to that place or this place and taste the biryani. Please be sure to check out this next video here, and I'll see you guys again soon. Until then, take care, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button.
This is Centralia. On the surface, it looks like a quiet little town in the middle of Pennsylvania's coal country. But look a little closer and you'll notice something is off. If you walk the abandoned roads here, sometimes they'll crack open without warning and spew steam and smoke, some are even hot to the touch. In other areas, you can see where sinkholes have opened up and in some cases swallowed entire homes. Suffice it to say, you have to be careful where you step in the town that's been burning for 60 years. As always, viewer discretion is advised. If you walk down the old Route 61 near the heart of Pennsylvania's coal country, there's an area where you might think you'd taken a wrong turn into a post-apocalyptic movie set. The road there is buckled and cracked open, and at one time was completely covered in graffiti, although it's since been covered by dirt. As you take a closer look though, weirdly, it's also surrounded by holes in the earth where smoke literally seeps out of the ground. This is an area known as Centralia, or more accurately, what's left of it. It was once home to more than 1,500 people, but Centralia now holds barely a handful of residents. In fact, just 5 of them by the most recent count in 2020. There are also no stores, schools, post offices, or much of anything else for that matter, but importantly, there were at one time. Most of the buildings have since been demolished decades ago, leaving only faint outlines on the ground where homes, churches, offices, and businesses used to stand. Nature has also since swept in to erase the edges as vines climb over fire hydrants and wildflowers bloom through the asphalt. As you might imagine, with so little going on, it's a quiet place, but it's not a regular kind of quiet. There's an unsettling kind of silence, like the eerie quiet that comes after something has gone terribly wrong. And that's fitting, considering that's exactly what happened, and as a result, underfoot, a fire has been burning for more than 60 years. To make things even weirder, walking through the former streets of Centralia, you'd never see even a flicker of a flame. That's because this fire is deep underground in the coal seams, far below your feet and crawling slowly through the labyrinth of abandoned mine shafts that stretch beneath the once lively town. You can certainly feel it and smell it though. The air has a faint odor of sulfur, like spent matches or rotten eggs, and sometimes the ground even feels warm to the touch. And maybe a little more horrifyingly, sometimes it even caves in. So what happened here and how did it get this way? Long before Centralia became a rare East Coast ghost town, it was a place built on coal. Located right in the middle of Pennsylvania's coal region, the area began attracting attention in the early 1800s for its vast deposits of anthracite, which is a hard, carbon-rich coal known for its high energy output and relatively clean burn. It wasn't long before a small settlement called Bull's Head cropped up, later named Centerville, and eventually incorporated as a borough of Centralia in 1866. As coal fever took hold, Centralia blossomed into a full-fledged mining hub. The Centralia Colliery opened in 1862 with mines extending outward in every direction, drawing in workers from across the region. The town was soon a patchwork of miners' cottages, churches, saloons, and general stores. Life and work there were hard, as mining often is, but it was also steady and reliable. Many people built their lives around the coal industry and passed that livelihood down through generations. And it went like this for decades, but by the 1950s, the industry that supported Centralia began to crack. The nation was moving on from coal as oil and natural gas were rapidly overtaking it as dominant energy sources. Mines closed one by one and jobs disappeared. Families packed up and left, leaving the massive network of tunnels beneath Centralia slowly abandoned, left to rot and fill with water and rubble. Some of these mines and some of those tunnels still held coal, but to the people who remained, these hollowed-out tunnels were relics instead of lucrative opportunities, thought to be harmless. In reality, though, that left-behind coal was a powder keg beneath the town's foundation. It's just that no one knew it yet. By the spring of 1962, Centralia had already weathered the long decline of the coal industry. The town was quieter than it was in its heyday, but it was still alive. People still lived there, went to church, and raised families there, and like many towns across America that year, they were preparing for Memorial Day festivities. That May, Centralia's Borough Council met to discuss how best to clean up the town's new landfill before the holiday. The dump, which was a former strip mine just outside of town, had become a centralized solution for the community's garbage after a recent crackdown on illegal dumping. Prior to that, the townspeople were just tossing their trash everywhere in town, and so the pit seemed like a perfect answer to the problem. This, however, created problems on its own, as the wide pit was filling up fast. The town then landed on a solution, which was to simply burn the trash. This was actually a fairly common method for dealing with waste at the time, especially in rural towns like Centralia. Firefighters were then hired to do the job, and on May 27th they set the pile on fire. Once the visible flames had gone down, they then hosed it down and left, satisfied the fire had been properly extinguished, but it hadn't. 2 days later, flames reappeared and fire crews returned with their hoses. They then stirred up the garbage with bulldozers and poured on more water. The surface fire then went out again, and the problem appeared to be solved until a horrible, disgusting smell began to permeate the town. This smell wafted up from the pit for days, indicating that something deeper down was still burning, and soon a disturbing discovery was made. A 15-foot or 4.5-meter hole had opened up along the northern wall of the landfill pit. It was hidden under layers of garbage until then, and soon it was realized that it led straight into the sprawling network of abandoned coal mines beneath Centralia. That hole was like a doorway that the fire blew right through, igniting the highly combustible coal seam below the town. At least that's the most accepted story anyway. What really happened is actually still debated. Despite the 1962 garbage burn being a recorded fact, some believe that the coal seam fire was started by spontaneous combustion. There's even been speculation that a separate mine fire from years earlier was never fully extinguished and that this fresh fire gave it new life. But whatever the truth, one fact was undeniable. From that point on, the fire was no longer just in the landfill. It was now underground and in the coal. But regardless, attempts to dig out the blaze began immediately. The town hired a company to dig out the burning material and seal off the affected areas. And for a time, it seemed like the worst might be over. Crews worked, the town moved on, and the fire faded from public attention, but it never did go out. Beneath the surface, it continued to spread through old tunnels, feeding on the very foundation of the town. And incredibly, it wouldn't be until nearly 2 decades later that Centralia would be forced to face the full scope of what had happened. Because at first, no one in Centralia imagined the fire would last. Underground coal fires weren't unheard of, and surely with enough effort and a little luck, they'd put it out and get back to normal. But this proved to be no ordinary fire. As the years went on, the town launched a series of increasingly desperate attempts to put the fire out. Each came with a new strategy and a new price tag. The first major effort involved digging massive ditches around the burning area to cut out the fire's path and starve it of fresh coal. In practice, however, the fire spread faster than the crews could dig. By the time a trench was completed, the fire had already begun moving beyond it. So next came a process called flushing, where engineers drilled boreholes down into the burning areas and pumped in a mix of water, sand, slurry, and gravel. The hope was that this would choke off oxygen feeding the flames, but the fire was hotter than expected. So hot, in fact, that it incinerated the injected material before it could do any good. Everything burned away, leaving new paths for the fire to creep through and millions of dollars to go up in smoke. The town also even tried to put up barriers. These were walls of clay or fly ash meant to trap the fire in place, but again they were outmaneuvered by the blaze. More extreme proposals were also floated, including flooding the mines, excavating entire sections of the burning zone, or sealing off every known mine entrance with concrete. These ideas, though, were unfortunately either deemed wildly impractical or prohibitively expensive. In fact, one proposal called for a full-scale excavation costing upwards of $600 million, which was more money than the town or even the state could dream of pulling together. And all the while, the fire kept spreading, unbeknownst to the majority of residents just living their daily lives while believing the situation had long been under control. That illusion, however, was about to shatter in the most terrifying way possible. February 14th, 1981 was the day everything changed in Centralia. This is when the underground fire stopped being an abstract threat. It was a cold Saturday morning when a 12-year-old named Todd stepped outside, asked by his mom to figure out why a group of government-looking men had been spotted around the neighborhood. The visitors, it turned out, were Pennsylvania state officials touring Centralia with local leaders to discuss the still-simmering mine fire. As Todd passed by his grandmother's house, his cousin Eric flagged him down to show him some repair work he had done to Todd's motorbike. Todd paused for a moment to see what Eric wanted to show him before resuming his errand. This is when he noticed something strange. Rising from the ground near an old tree was a wisp of smoke. The snow also hadn't stuck to that patch of grass, and the leaves around it looked disturbed. So curious, Todd walked over to it, and just as he did, the earth collapsed beneath him. In a split second, he was up to his knees in hot, soupy mud. He then struggled and kicked, trying to climb out, but the more he fought, the more the ground gave way. Before long, he was buried waist deep as thick smoke rose around him. Below his feet, he could also hear a strange whooshing sound like gusts of wind. This was the mine fire far below, sucking air through the earth, and every time that wind blew, the hole beneath Todd's feet caved in just a little more. He then sank to his chest as steam stung his eyes and the air reeked of rot. Panic also took hold, and he reached around for anything he could with his mostly pinned arms. Next to him was a root from that old tree he managed to latch onto in desperation, and it was the only thing that was keeping him from disappearing into the void. Nearby, Eric heard the faint screams of his cousin, saw the smoke, and came running. He rushed to the edge of the pit, but Todd was no longer above ground anymore. All Eric could see was smoke inside the hole in the earth, but he could still hear Todd crying out for help. So with no time to think, Eric reached into the hole, grabbed a hold of Todd, and pulled with everything he had. Somehow, Todd emerged alive, covered in hot mud and shaking in fear. He'd been in that hole for barely a minute, but had he stayed a few moments longer, the carbon monoxide pouring out of the opening could have killed him, let alone something worse. Later analysis confirmed that the gases were lethal, and worse still, the spot where Todd fell was the site of an old mine shaft long since filled in. The fire had reached it and heated the material until it loosened. All it took was one wrong step for it to cave in. In the weeks that followed Todd's near-death experience, headlines exploded and TV crews arrived. Politicians were panicked, as was the Centralia public. The town and its raging underground fire was now a national news story, and for the first time, the question of whether Centralia could survive was no longer hypothetical. Todd may have survived, but from that moment forward, Centralia was on borrowed time. There was no more pretending any longer that the fire was just some inconvenience buried deep within the ground that could be ignored. It was now a threat that was literally tearing holes in the town. Centralia didn't collapse overnight, though. What came next was division, and at the heart of it was a single question no one could agree on. Was it still safe to live there? Experts then came, took measurements, analyzed gas leaks, and assessed cave-in risk, but the results were murky and often contradictory. Carbon monoxide levels were high in some homes and normal in others. It was also learned at this time that there were reports of headaches, respiratory issues, strange smells, and unexplained warmth in basements, but these were a bit inconsistent. In that ambiguity, two camps emerged. On one side were the people who were concerned. They believed the danger was real and growing, and they wanted out. They demanded relocation, government aid, and a full evacuation. To them, staying meant gambling with their lives, and they weren't willing to do that. On the other side were the holdouts. These were the people who felt the fire's danger was exaggerated. They saw the relocation talk as fear-mongering and government overreach. And understandably, many feared losing their homes and property values, and some even suspected it was all a ploy to claim the rights to the unmined coal. In the midst of all of this, chaos broke out. This ranged from collapsing friendships and neighbors no longer speaking to one another, to slashed tires and apparently even a home that was firebombed. The tight-knit town that had once rallied around church events and 4th of July parades was now ripping itself apart from the inside. And through it all, the fire kept burning. Finally, in 1984, after mounting public pressure and national attention, Congress stepped in with a lifeline. It offered $42 million in federal aid to relocate the town's residents, but obviously it was bittersweet. Those who accepted the buyouts would leave their homes behind, many of which would be condemned and demolished. But at the same time, it was a way out, and for most, that was enough. Over the next few years, families packed up and left. The post office closed, schools shut down, and one by one, homes were bulldozed, leaving only driveways to nowhere and concrete slabs peeking through weeds. By the early 1990s, Centralia was a shell of its former self, but not everyone left. A small, determined group of residents refused to go. Some had lived their entire lives in Centralia, and others simply didn't trust the state to act in their best interest. A few were just too stubborn to give up their homes, and they stayed as the town around them disappeared. Sometime later in 1992, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania invoked eminent domain, allowing the state to seize all property in Centralia. The remaining buildings were then condemned, but the holdouts dug in. Many years of legal battles followed, and eventually those who stayed were granted life estates, which was permission to live out their lives in the town but not pass their property on to anyone else. It was essentially a legal promise that when they died, Centralia would die with them. What makes Centralia especially haunting is the fact that the fire still hasn't stopped. As we all sit here, whenever and wherever you're watching or listening from, Centralia continues to burn right now. So why, after decades of attention, millions of dollars, and countless attempts to put out the fire, has no one been able to put it out? The short answer is that coal seam fires are practically invincible. To understand why, you have to picture what's happening underground. Again, Centralia sits atop vast anthracite coal seams, many of them fractured and exposed from more than a century of mining. When the fire slipped into those old mine tunnels, it found a nearly endless supply of fuel. It wasn't just the coal, though. That's only part of the recipe. The other factor is that abandoned mines are riddled with airways, vent shafts, cracks, and old shafts that no one has seen in decades, like the one Todd almost fell through. It's like a perfect storm of burnability. Every attempt to stop it has run into the same fundamental problem. You can't put out a fire you can't reach. The early strategies failed because they were working blind. The fire had already tunneled into places no one expected, and by the time boreholes were drilled or trenches were dug, it had moved on. Crews just couldn't keep up, and while more dramatic solutions like flooding the mines or digging out the entire affected area were proposed, the logistics were just impossible. Centralia's underground fire stretches an estimated 8 miles or almost 13 kilometers and down to 300 feet or 91 meters. In total, this works out to more than 3,700 acres. So by the 1980s, extinguishing it would have been a Herculean.
It looks like
With the rise of superpower 的不利だからですよね。何回も聞きました。いや。
When we all arrived in Akama? Come to think of it, we felt something a bit odd too. Maybe you also have the ability to learn Ornyx's prayers too?
Is that rare?
Not at all! We have lots of priests here, but some are more gifted than others. Why don't you both try chanting? Treevee will see if you get it! Oh! You got it on the first try!
miracle fresh from the oven. Go, bring word to the bard. Frontier heroes grace Akima. Feats abound right here.
I don't seem to be cut out for this.
That's okay. There are many others like you. It just means you're meant to be a warrior. Oh, you met Aggie, right? How did your chat go? Really? That's pretty impressive. You know, we are pretty certain there's more to your sudden arrival to Akima. And Treeby has never seen a priest achieve resonance with Ornyx on their first try. But with this, you should be able to clear any obstacle when traveling around Emporius. Most of the time at least. Oh, right! We came by to check if you have teleslates with you. It'll be a lot easier to get around Akima with them.
Teleslates.
Yeah! We knew it! There are also Yanisopolis priests beyond beyond Akima. Like the city you're from. Let's see. This looks different, but it works more or less the same. Maybe a little resonance will do the trick. All set! Now we can contact one another with our teleslates. Only in Akima, though. Messages won't send once you're outside Aggie's web of golden threads.
That is surprising.
Did you think we were some backwater people who don't understand anything? You can also use any currency you have on you. Talantan scales will determine the value of all items, so there's no need to worry about being penniless in the Holy City. Not if it's just the two of you, but if any of the council elders happen to ask, it's our little secret. Okay, time to get back to work. Have fun exploring the city. We'll see you two later.
The list of inexplicable things only gets longer. Look, someone's on the roof. That should be a good vantage point to photograph the city. Let's find a way up.
A miracle. A miracle fresh from the oven! Go, bring word to the bard! Does it really work?
An excellent lookout over the city. We can even see that Titan statue. Let's get a photo of this view.
What are you two doing up here? I know you! Oh, you're the heroes who helped defend our city, right? I, Damionis, saw your valiant figures in the battle.
Ah, nice to meet you. We're soldiers from a faraway city. It's our first time in Akima, so we thought we'd find a nice vantage point to, capture... I mean, to remember this city and its sights by.
Oh, you mean to say take a photo, don't you?
Yes, I meant to say that.
Aha! So you met the right person. The name's Damionis, and I may have some humble insight on travel and photography. After all, everyone in this holy city knows me as the explorer. All right, pass me your photo stone.
I'm not even going to bother guessing their logic for naming things.
Oh, this is an entirely foreign make. But that's not gonna stop me. I'm guessing this here and that. Easy peasy, I know how to use this now. Huh. Oh, it's no biggie. Okay, strike your poses and look this way. And we're done. Here, have a look.
Huh. Not bad. Don't be so nitpicky.
Well, I mean, as long as you're happy with the photos. Say, I've been wanting to ask you guys something. I didn't think I'd actually get the chance, but you're not really from another city, are you?
I don't think I understand your question.
I've heard some things here and there. I mean, refugees that just came into the city are saying that the people Lord Finon picked up are from beyond the sky.
Sorry to disappoint you, sir. I'm afraid those rumors are just rumors. We're from Thalassopolis, a sparsely populated frontier village. Our journey to the Holy City was fraught with challenges, but thankfully we were able to make our way here after meeting Finon at the Abyss.
Thalassopolis? Oh. Is that so? I thought I'd finally found proof that a world beyond the sky exists. It doesn't matter. At any rate, thanks for your help, warriors of Thalassopolis. Akama welcomes you.
That was close. But I have a bad feeling about this. I don't think we managed to fool him. After all, Thalassopolis was something I came up with on the fly. If he's truly an explorer familiar with the geography of Amphorius, I'm afraid that he'll have already seen through our lies. Fortunately, there's no evidence. But it seems like even though the starry sky is taboo on Amphorius, there are people who still yearn for it. Looks like we have to be even more cautious.
Where should we go next?
Right. We were going to explore the city before we got distracted. Look! Finon is over there.
Mission complete. Nothing suspicious.
Just the two of us.
Impressive. Impeccable precision.
Out of the shadow of the past, you've not stepped, Chrysos heir. The weight of the core flame, if you wish to bear, you must bury the past. Suspend the pain.
I'll try my best, Cartonis, but why keep mentioning it if you already know I can't do it?
Here, your guests are.
You two. You're back much quicker than I imagined. I thought that Aglaya would keep you for a bit longer. Here you go. This is the compensation I previously mentioned. I asked the most famous grand craftsman in the Holy City to repair your spear. Once again, let me offer my sincere apologies for any offense I caused during our first meeting.
Judging solely from its exterior, I cannot see any signs of damage. It's truly incredible.
The one who crafted this spear must also be a renowned master. I guess there's always someone greater out there. Although I still can't imagine a world outside Amphorius. Or perhaps I've just never given it much thought until I met you two. You've probably now heard about the tripartite prophecy that descended upon Amphorius and the mission of the Chrysos heirs. For us, pursuing the prophecy is the purpose of our journey. Therefore, thinking too much about other things is unnecessary. It's considered a prophecy because it manifested as a miracle, though its origin and whose will it represents remains unknown. There's another theory that it is the whispers of Kefali before their eternal slumber. It was the Skyfather who scattered their divine blood all over the land that gave rise to the Chrysos heirs. Of course, that is just one of many popular folktales. Please, don't simply dismiss it as silly superstition. The people of this world have already experienced the transition from skepticism to firm belief, and this transition wasn't easy to achieve. Many have paid the price.
What Aglaya conveyed to us was more of a collective mission. As an individual, what role do you play in all of this, Finan?
Me? I'm still seeking that answer myself. But if the gods favor me, I believe that my core flame won't be far. I'm a soldier who was taught how to fight at a young age. From the day I was selected by the prophecy, I've regarded the Lance of Fury as my goal. One day, I'll break the lance and take the core flame of strife. But discussing such a bitter topic is a bummer. I'm embarrassed since I think I'm the one who brought it up. Oh, right. Tribby mentioned that you two also use teleslates. Why don't we exchange contacts? Please, also accept these gifts as a token of my appreciation. Since the weather is great, why don't you two look around some more? I won't take up more of your time. See you later.
That's...
Ah, it's our two distinguished guests. Welcome to the dwelling of the Dromases. Well, I'm also just passing by. Really? I find it rather sweet. It's the fragrance of life.
Speaking of which, is Miss Castris also a Chrysosaur?
Yes.
Oh, my apologies. If you don't wish to talk about this topic, I'll stop myself here.
Thank you, Mr. Dan Hong.
Seems to have understood you, but it's choosing to ignore you.
Oh, this child looks hungry. Since you are here, do you two want to try feeding the Dromases? Their feed is dry red soil and it's very clean. There's some over there. Since it's your first time feeding, just a small piece will do. Their feed is dry red soil and it's very clean. There's some over there. It looks very happy. Perhaps you could try petting it? It seems to enjoy it a lot. You get along very well with the Dromas. It makes me envious. Me? No thanks. It's all right.
Miss Castris, are you concerned about something? Since we've just arrived in this area, we hope to build closer relationships with everyone through our actions.
Please don't misunderstand. When you helped Akama, you already showed ample goodwill. It's just that I am not too good with social contact, regardless of whether it's with people or with these children. So please don't take it to heart.
All right. Take a photo of the Dromas as well. It's rare to encounter such an amazing creature.
Would you two like a photo with this child? In that case, I might be able to help. But that's not it. Photography is an interest of mine.
All right then. Thanks for your help.
No problem. Please place the photo stone on the ground.
Let's just do as she says.
What beautiful colors. It's very cute. The aperture, exposure index, and preset filter. Although it looks different on the outside, it actually has the same internal structure. There won't be any issues. All right, get into into position. And we're done. I hope that you like it.
Oh, but what's the reason behind using the black and white filter?
My apologies. It's just personal preference. I like black and white photos. If it bothers you, I can take another photo.
That won't be necessary. This is fine.
I'm glad that I could help. Then, I'll take my leave now. Please continue playing with the Dromesis.
You could say she's not very talkative? No, that's not it. She's just a little elusive. Even when we came across her previously, she avoided having physical contact with others. These Chrysosers all have wildly different personalities. In comparison, Finan seems like the most normal one. Should we return to Memorial Palace? Or do you want to wander around for a bit more?
Time you need some exercise.
There seems to be a new show.
Hey, are you in the forum?
Forum? Which one?
The one about the rosy celestial maiden? It's getting more popular by the minute. I don't see you in there yet. Hurry up! It's filling up quickly.
Rosy Celestial Maiden? Forum? I have a strange feeling about this. I hope that it's not what I think it is. Let's go take a look. Excuse me, we accidentally overheard something about a forum just now. We would like to find out more.
Your outfits, who exactly?
We're warriors from a foreign land who assisted in the defense of Akuma.
Ah, brave warriors. Pardon me. I didn't expect you to be interested in such social affairs, but sure thing. Please, take out your teleslate. I'll help you connect to Akuma's World Wound Web. Got it. Please take a look.
No. That Damionis guy who took a photo for us. It must be him. He must have opened the album and saw the photos that March 7th previously took. There are more than 100 people in here. Although no one believes what Damionis is saying now, we don't know what he'll do next. If the situation gets out of control, Quick. We have to find Damionis before things get worse.